Welcome back to PyeongChang in Korea. We're at the Alpensia Sliding Centre, the venue for the 2018 Olympic Winter Games for luge, skeleton and bobsleigh. It's the final World Cup of the BMW IBSF season and a last run for women's bobsleigh. Hello everybody, I'm Martin Haven, alongside me John Morgan. And John, the balance now, what hangs in the balance now is the World Cup season title.
Yeah, Mariana Jermenka and Anika Drazic, good start times, and she was pretty impressive coming down the track. She's had a start deficiency to the top two sleds, which are American, but she drove very well and pretty impressive so far for Jamaica, which is really a good season for her up to date. Jamie Grubel-Poser and Asia Evans, well, they've won one event, but they had a little problem there at the start out of the start groups, cost them a little bit of time. Bob jumping into curve 12, we'll explain that during the broadcast, and they're in second place, and they're going to chase down, well, Alana Myers-Taylor is on some roll today. She's got one of three different Joneses she's used this year to win medals, gold medals, and Lolo Jones and her pop off with the best start. And Alana, very smooth drive down the track, and I think everybody's pretty surprised, not with that she's in first, but how her and Jamie are really separated by 2/10 over the third and fourth place sleds. And the Olympic champion, Haley Humphreys, is back in sixth.
And Kaylee is our World Cup points leader as well. However, in this final race of the season, it looks as though Jamie Grubel-Poser might overhaul her and snatch the Crystal Globe. 22 sleds started. Olivia Vilt with a bad back problem meant that Maria Constantin didn't get a competitive run in. Katrin Bile had a horror story going down. They will not be part of the final heat of the season. Alana Myers-Taylor just checking the runners on her sled right before the end. Mariama Yamanka and the blonde-haired Anika Drazic there, just busy polishing them to a mirror surface. And Kaylee Humphreys hasn't won since the 6th of January this year, and trying to figure out how to work her way around this Olympic track best of all.
Look at this beautiful, look at the facility. It's on the third floor of the start building. It's open on both ends. You see the ski hill on the right, you see the jumps on the left, tartan surface. They have really built some spectacular facility here in PyeongChang.
Yeah, it's an enormous warm-up facility and saves the athletes having to be out in some icy gravel car park, which is your standard warm-up facility at most tracks. There's just no room, in fact, around here. We're on the edge of a precipice almost in the start house. There's severe drops all the way down. There's one of the two Korean women who are competing in the race as well, and they'll go off first and second. They finished 19th and 20th in the first heat. It's only their third World Cup race of their careers, and Nozomi Ozazu, the Japanese girl who goes off third, only a couple more World Cup trips for her. Look at Angia Grecu of Romania. What a great run she had in the first heat to be 7th behind Olympic champion Kaylee Humphreys. Humphreys will win the title if she finishes in the top 3, no matter what anybody else does, but it does look odds on that Jamie Grubel-Poser could take that crown.
Pretty warm conditions here, Martin.
And 20 sleds to go to round out the BMW IBSF Women's Bobsleigh World Cup. For the first time ever racing outside North America, Seonhye Lee and Miran Shin of Korea. Lee, the younger of the two Korean drivers, at just 22 years of age, only in her second season, but she's already winning races at the lower tier level in the North American Cup.
Yeah, it's probably only their third year driving, and they've had a pretty good acceleration curve. Real surprised that they don't get good starts, because if you're going to recruit somebody new in the sport, you got to recruit an athlete who doesn't hit the wall there in curve 2, the pivotal part of the track. You can't do that. Anybody that does that will fall back 2 or 3 places, if not more. And Martin, this is some challenging facility. We saw it yesterday for skeleton and women's bob in the first heat. We saw some sleds get down clean, but this is the real nightmare part of the track, and that hump right there, we'll talk about that as we see sleds launch airborne into curve 12.
Pretty clean run from Lee at the moment. And as the only one who has completed a second heat, she will of course be our leader.
Uphill section here at the end.
Established brand new start and track records. This is the first ever international race on the track.
Wow, she just went 53.21,
53.11 faster.
53.11.
Yep, tenth of a second faster off a 5:78 start, which is only 300ths quicker.
Huge crowd in here, and these are people seeing their first bobsled race ever. We were very surprised when we came to Korea to see all the bobsledding that was on television.
Yep.
This is curve 2, pivotal part of the track. You got to get high and escape the curve without hitting the right-hand wall. Boy, it's been a nightmare there for everybody.
Camera makes it look pretty level here as well. This is still quite steep downhill, and you plunge down to here and over a little brow as you jump into corner 12.
And that's the natural design. That's the way it is. That little hump will show you some very compelling pictures as the broadcast unfolds here.
Looks really dramatic.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. You're going to see an awful lot of replays of that. Yuran Kim and Min Seong Kim. We will have a Korean sled leading after our second pair of athletes go down the track as well. Their teammates already, Seonhee Lee and Miran Shin with the lead.
What a race we had last night in men's skeleton separation. Dukars from Won in Korea by 100th of a second. The home crowd just was deflated.
And Dukar's claiming his 8th consecutive season title.
A lot of movement by the brake, but their head going back and forth, and forth. We'll see the good technique, all that energy's going forward. Now see if she can get out of curve 2. No, both Koreans, 2 for 2.
And again, the camera doesn't show that. You drop 3 stories, it corkscrews down the hill.
It's
really
3 stories,
steeply.
it's 5 stories from 1 to 2, and then 3 more stories after 2.
It's about a 10-story drop from the start to corner 5.
And that's why you're going so fast here. It's 6, up on the 8-9 combination into 12. In that chicane, the shades are still up, cooling the sled. It's still hot, sun's out.
And the wind as well has been affecting the ice. 13 at double pressure corner.
Watch this uphill section there. The TV doesn't do it justice. That's a steep uphill. You could lose a lot of time or gain time there on that bottom part, 100 meters of the track.
Well, that was 3300ths better than her previous trip as well, so she saved a third of a second. She extends her advantage over her teammates to half a second.
Well, they both went faster in the second run, and they both crushed the wall in curve 2. We'll look at these replays all day. There's nothing more pivotal on any track I've ever seen than this curve 2 for all of the sliding disciplines. Here down at curve 9, well, you just try and survive coming down this part of the track. It's a chicane. It's not straight, so they got a curve 8 and 9 in that mix. So it's 10, 11, and then it's skidding into 12, and boy, there's a lot to talk about in that section of the track.
From that blue line you saw just at the bottom of the picture, there's a section about 10 feet of track where nobody touches the ice. 2 down, 18 to go to round out the BMW IBSF World Cup Women's Bobsleigh season. And this is Konomiya Sazu of Japan with Mutumi Sakauchi, her brakewoman. Sazu only in her second year as a driver, her first at World Cup level. But boy, she's already started to show impressive ability.
Yeah, she's way over the push bar. She doesn't use it like a bench press exercise. She'll learn that start technique. Right now, she's just trying to learning the driving technique. And can she get through 2? Yes. Compared to both Korean sleds that crushed the wall there. They won't be the last sleds we see crushing the wall. That wall's going to have a lot to do with who wins at the bottom.
Former brakewoman, competed in Whistler in 2010 for Japan behind Minami Hino, then pushed for her teammate Maria Oshigiri up until the beginning of last season.
Okay, she gets through that graveyard section of the track.
She's really got some ability, hasn't she?
2400ths lead. Now the uphill section here, she can throw it all away if she hits the exit. This is all uphill.
Whoa,
all the way through this finish curve, right to the finish curve right there.
And look at the way that there's a little plateau halfway up the finish straight. The Koreans beat them. 52.84 for the Japanese.
Hans Wimmer doesn't like that. Their
speed is going away.
The first ever foreign coach of the Japanese bobsled or skeleton program, Hans Wimmer, and we'll see another Japanese sled up in the top 11. She's done very well this year, so the Japanese are finally realizing they need some assistance from the Europeans to bring their programs, bobsled and skeleton, up to the next level. And here's that bob jumping, we're calling it.
Yeah.
That's the way the track was designed. We haven't seen a real airborne sled yet. We will before this heat's done.
Yes, we will. Yuran Kim of Korea leading after the first 3 sleds down this Olympic track at PyeongChang. Martin Haven and John Morgan watching the action trackside with you as Canada's Christine de Bruyne and Geneviève Thibault get set to start.
Well, she didn't have a very good first run, and I was commenting she had some pretty good training heats. 58 in the first run.
Christine, another former brakewoman like teammate Kaylee Humphreys, like Alicia Rissling was as well.
Okay, let's watch.
Oh!
Well, there's 3 out of 4 that Curve 2 has got. Curve 2, this track has got boogeymans all over it. There's no place to relax. The speed to try and accelerate. There she's up on the wood on that curve. Now the graveyard. And that's pretty good.
Yeah, shoots the chicane beautifully. 123.8, that's 76.9 miles an hour. And Christine de Bruyne has got a good run going here. She's gone from 42 hundredths. She'll be about 3/10 in front. A little brush with the wall going uphill. 3rd fastest time, 17 hundredths in front. Wow. The Koreans really did keep speed on board their sled at the bottom there. But Christine de Bruyne takes the lead away from them. She was 3/10 ahead after the first heat and only 17 hundredths ahead after 2 heats.
Well, if you want to succeed on this track, this is not what you want to do. And 3 of the 4 sleds that have come down have crushed that wall. We're going to have to give that wall a name, but up here, oof, she's not the only sled's been up in the wood on in that curve. Right here, look at that. And the wood, it's not good for fast speed.
Yep.
Christine always smiling though. Her husband Ivo will compete later today.
First of 2 Russian sleds is Alexandra Rodionova with her debutante brakewoman, Elena Mamedova. Mamedova has had only 2 races in her life, both in January and February, and 1 North America's Cup race and an appearance at the Junior World Championships as a brakewoman.
So Rodionova has had 5 7th places, 2 6s, and in the World Championship she was 18th.
Yeah, until then she'd been the queen of 7.
And she's, she was, up in the top 10 constantly, and all of them she can't get in.
Can't get in.
And she's been in a free fall. I mean, it's a former luge athlete who knows ice as good as anybody, and she sneaks through curve 2, but compared to her teammate Sarajevo, who's coming up in top 4 sleds.
Yeah.
This has been a very perplexing second half of the season.
Well, Rodionova's not as athletic at the start as Sergeva, and her driving skills just don't seem to be progressing that much in the bobsleigh.
Those lines right there were awesome.
Yeah.
Speed, she could get rewarded down here with 129 or 30 speed, and this would be a much better heat and should move her up where she should be.
Yeah, 6/10 ahead of the Canadians. She was 32 hundredths up, she goes 8/10 clear. That's a much better run.
600ths better, but still, she shouldn't be back here like she was in the World Championships 18th. The Russians had a disastrous World Championship. Sarajevo crashed in the first heat. She would have been top 5. Rodionova just looks like she was.
And she's in a tough battle as well, Rodionova. The next 7 sleds are within 1/10 of a second of her.
Well, the start, this is a rookie brakeman, and she was in the Junior World Championships previously, and then a America's Cup competition. And when you don't get starts, and she couldn't, the driver must have hooked her foot, because she shouldn't be in there that late. She's lucky she didn't hit the wall.
Yeah. 5 sleds down, Alexandra Rodionova of Russia is your race leader, and now we get into a really tight battle. Elfie Willemsen of the Netherlands tied with Austria's Christina Hengster, 2 very similar drivers. They're tied for 14th place, just 2 hundredths in hand over current leader Russia's Alexandra Rodionova.
We're 3 years removed from where Elfie finished 6th at the Olympics.
Yeah.
She was the queen of speed, but that was with different sleds. We have not seen Elfie on point for much of the season. She gets starts that you don't want to watch, but to drive down the track. She's one of the best.
Well, she's already eating into the deficit to Rodionova, 10th behind at the start. It came down to 900s out of corner 3, and now down to 700. She'll be in the lead unless she gets a rotten run out of corner 9.
Well, this is what she does as good as anybody. Not the speed that the Russian sled had, though. Kilometer down, half a mile an hour. 400s. Gonna need 129 and change speed to have a chance here. 129.1, fourth best speed. I don't think she's gonna get her.
Gonna have to be very good to the line. No, she does not get her. Well, that's the difference. You know, we've seen that all the way through training. A good run, an average run, an average run, a bad run.
Well, she got beat at the start by 1200s. Got beat at the bottom by 2. So she got beat by a quarter second at the top in 2 heats. And only lost by 2 at the bottom. That's about start time, but neither one of these 2 sleds should be in the back of the field like this. And how are these lines? That's as good as we're going to see here the rest of the way down.
She's got enough control out of 9 that she can steer away from the wall.
She's not happy.
That is it. Season done for Elfie Willemsen. Last slide of the year coming up for Austria's Christina Hengster and Sanne Decker, and they are still trying to work out how on earth they are going to be allowed to qualify Dutch-born Sanne to go as an Austrian to the Olympic Games. They're working with Jennifer Onosanya, the other brakewoman in the team, who didn't make the cut behind Katrin Beil, and her paperwork's already in the Mincer. But for Sanne Decker, next year is still a big question mark.
Both Austrian sleds are sliding with Dutch brakemen. I don't know how they're going to pull that shift, especially with the refugee crisis, what it is in Austria and Europe in general.
But they need that speed and they can't find it at home. 5:51 start.
Oh, she crushed the wall for the second heat in a row. She should be up in the top 5 or 6 is where she's ranked. World Cup points, she's 4th in World Cup points. Should be lucky to get out of here with a top 10 finish. All related to the exit of curve 2.
Have to do a little bit of mental arithmetic to see what happens between her and Nadezhda Sergeeva of Russia. Hengster's 4th in points, Sergeeva in 5th. I looked at the gap and didn't think it was going to be overcome. It's 80-odd points, but Sergeeva is a long way up the order.
Speed is good. This is the first one right to the 100th, either way.
500's in it, 200's in it, 52.38. Well, the Russians overhauled Elfie Willemsen by 200s, and they in turn are beaten by Christina Hengster by 200s of a second.
Slap the cowling. She's 0 for 2. You know that curve up in Whistler they call 50-50? We might have to start calling that curve 2 the 50-50.
Well, the skeleton athletes particularly had a name for it, Jusu, which is the local spirit that they drink after dinner. Because it messes you up, is the polite way of the explanation.
And watch here, watch the airborne. This might be the first bob jump. Look at the air. The runners are dangling in the air. Free fall. Wow.
Track designed by Bo and Luke Duke, obviously. Brittany Reinbold and Lauren Gibbs of the USA ready for their final race trip of the BMW IBSF Women's Skeleton Women's Bobsleigh World Cup.
Brittany had a little rough trip down the track. Certainly wouldn't have had any form points if there was judges.
First full season as a World Cup driver for Brittany Reinbold. Flight instructor as her day job.
Yeah, the start wasn't that bad. She was right up there, top 6 at the start, 5:40.
And that's what Lauren Gibbs brings to the back of the sled.
Look at her arms up. Lauren Gibbs' technique getting in the sled has improved so much from the first part of the year to the second. Oh, she's
good
really
exit.
high.
Used the height well.
Yeah, she snuck through there, but down below here, she had more hits than Elvis in the first run.
Let's see if she can tidy that up. Taking anyone out of the run.
Watch out, she's late there.
Late in 7.
8, real sweeping left, sets you up for 9.
And
now
room in 8 to correct it.
This is much better than her first run, and she gets good form points for the jumping into the 12. And 13, she taps again. 14, now the speed, she's going to need 129 chain speed.
800s.
Oh, she's very
It's
close.
going to be very close.
This is another one.
Here we go. How far will she?
100.
Oh, 100th of a second.
Look at
Christina
angry.
Hengster and Sanna Decker.
Not the way they want to end the year.
Don't pick up a spot. Well, there are so many tight battles here. They were only 200s in front of Hengster after the first heat, 100th in front after 2.
And Brittany Reinbold and Lauren Gibbs come down 100th better than their first run, so a lot of consistency. That's a much better run.
That's the
Brittany.
100th.
If she's high there, that's up in 7. And now the big sweeping end. Now when you're high there, you come across, cut too much ice. Look at this. Now she's got to come across late, cut too much ice, use too much ice on the track. Then here it's, you figure it out. That's 1,000 pounds airborne.
Yep.
70 miles an hour.
Brittany Reinbold to the USA is the race leader after our first 8 sleds down. 12 to go in the last World Cup race of the season. Sabina Hafner with one of 2 identical twins, Rahel Rebsamen. And is that a change? Yes, it was Evelyn who pushed in the first heat. Rahel has been subbed in off the bench for the second heat.
Nice to bring just identical twins in.
Yeah, just to confuse everybody.
Okay, she had 5:58, so one of the twins is quicker. And can she get out of first curve or second curve? Yep. And the firecracker, the former electrician before 2010, then she went back to school. Now she's an electrical engineer.
Yeah, firecracker's not a great nickname for an electrician.
But she loves it.
Doesn't inspire confidence, does
She's
it?
got scarves and merchandise. She still carries the stuff around. And that's not good.
Goodness.
That's all she wanted to do was get out of curve 9 clean both runs.
Wow.
She did the first run, but not this one.
And now she's come from behind into the lead, a slender lead. She had 100th in hand over Brittany Reinbold from the first
best
heat.
speed. This is going to go right to the 100th.
Oh my goodness, this is really tight. 52.31.
Just think what she would have done if she didn't make that mistake in that graveyard section of the track. She's happy.
Yeah. Well, she obviously nailed 2, even if she did skid all the way down to 9, from 9 to 12.
16th best start, and she's going to finish in the top 11 or so, maybe better.
Yep.
It was real close, 3 or 4 sleds. And check these pictures out. This is not what we normally see in bobsledding.
You thought Evelyn got bumped out of the saddle. Look at
this. Look at this.
Sister gets even more air.
And this is at 70 miles an hour, so it's not as costly like it is up in curve 2. But look at these. Boy, airborne.
They're going to start needing seatbelts on this track. Keep them in the sled. Martin Haven, John Morgan watching trackside at PyeongChang in Korea, the Olympic venue for the 2018 Winter Games, as we get into the final 11 sleds of the BMW IBSF Women's Bobsleigh World Cup season. The title up for grabs, and we're going to start talking about the mathematics involved very shortly. Kristen Senkel up next for Germany with Anne Kristenstrack. Senkel, one of 2 former brakewomen in the 3-driver lineup for Germany.
Yeah, with Olympic experience. She's in 2 Olympic Games in the back of Sandra Kyriasis in 2010, 2014 with Kathleen Martini. And now they've accelerated her to the front seat and started a little slowly last couple of years on the Europa Cup. This is the first time we've seen her out this season. And, you know, she's had some moments. But to make that switch from the brakeman to the front seat, not everybody is successful at it. Athleticism is there, but you know, the eyes and hands driving a bobsled, the meticulous nature that it demands, not everybody can do it.
Best race for her, 7th place finish in San Moritz. She was 9th in the World Championships, which I thought showed great maturity and consistency.
Not good speed. Now she's losing more time back, and it's close. She could drop a couple places. She doesn't have any speed at all here.
9th.
Uphill.
Wow.
This is going to be fickle. 6th best time. She falls 6 places. Wow. So the firecracker moves up 1.
So she gets closer, Sabina Hafner, to a top 10 finish, and
Tough
Kristen
to be
Senkel,
consistent. She's the first one. Look at the time difference.
That is going to be...
Yeah, she's 2,100 slower. Everybody else is a little bit faster. She's the first sled to come down 2/10 slower.
It's going to be, by some margin, her worst result of the season.
You know, the start, big, tall, lanky athlete. Look at him jump in with... It's not easy just to get in, get down, and get your hands on. Look at the technique with the brakeman. Very good technique. But here, curve 1, curve 2. Looked like a lot of steering out of curve 1. And what does she do to come out of curve 2? Skidding, and the back end hits, and that's why she's not the leader.
Snags the back bunk. Kristen Senkel drops 6, and that leaves Sabine Hafner as the leader. 10 down, 10 to go here in the final World Cup race of the women's bobsleigh season.
Look at the straightaway. The
Great
ice.
view there of 8 coming down into 9, and this is looking back up at turn 9, and it looks from that camera view as if it's coming uphill. That's 8, 9 down into 12.
But you could stand on both sides of 9. There's our leaders.
Yeah, Sabine Hafner with the lead, and there's Rahel.
Well, where's the other twin? They should have the other twin in there too, because she ran in the first run.
She'll be humping the sled around, or in the doctor's office, one or the other.
Well, there's our crowd that are seeing their first ever World Cup bobsled competition. There's a few busloads of people got bussed out. I don't know the name of the city above us, but it's about 45 miles away. They say there's a lot of people coming down here.
Yeah.
I bet you there's a couple thousand people on the track today.
And obviously with the impending Olympic Games, it's been very well covered on Korean television.
Yeah, the Korean TV has done a fantastic job promoting the sport. Of course, the results of the Korean men in bobsled and skeleton the last couple of years has also fueled that drive.
Yeah, no question. Was chatted to Yoon Jung-won yesterday evening after the race. He was really stony-faced on the podium after the race, just did not want to be there at all, was really disappointed with himself. But by yesterday evening, that was all done and gone, and just so much water under the bridge. He was back to his normal buoyant self. So he didn't win the pre-Olympic event, but history shows us, John, you've made the point many times about bobsledders, and talking to Tuffy Latour about it yesterday, he said the same is true for skeleton. Very few pre-Olympic skeleton race winners have gone out to win the event itself.
See, you could stand on both sides of 9.
Yeah, that's
the coaches.
true.
That's not true. 9. So that's I would think
5.
That's down in the uphill section. That's right below us.
14, 15,
that's in the
16.
low point. 14,
yeah,
15,
yeah.
16.
Exactly so.
We're still learning the track, folks. Trust us.
Still learning the camera views for sure. Halfway through the final slide of the BMW IBSF Women's Bobsleigh World Cup season. There are your leaders. On the left, Rahel Rabsamen, and on the right, driver Sabine Hafner from Switzerland. Next up, Anne van Nieuwenhuizen and Sophie Verkruijsen for Belgium. 10th place after the first heat. Sophie recovering from the injury that took her out of the World Championships the night before they started a month ago.
And she's 13th ranked in points. She started off the season in Altenburg. She missed the first 2 events in North America. Started off with a 4th place finish on one of the most challenging tracks on the planet. So we know she can drive, but she gives up so much time at the start.
Now she's already going to move up 1 spot in the rankings ahead of Maria Constantin of Romania, whose brakewoman had a bad back and they didn't make the second heat. They were only 4 points ahead of Van Nieuwenhuizen, and she will also likely move up ahead of Misha McNeil, who's in 11th place and isn't here.
She's not here. Concussion protocol. They kept her at Cape, brought her all the way to Korea, and then she just didn't feel well, and they sent her back to Great Britain. And now this race right here is 1100, pulling away. This is what she does. She gets great speed. 129.4, 4th best speed in the uphill section, but it's the 10th sled down, so the ice doesn't give up that great. Look at her duck her head for aerodynamics, and every 100th counts.
Right.
52.24, 500ths better than her first run.
She is guaranteed to finish in 10th, which gives her another 144 points. Teammate Elfia Willemsen is in 10th in the World Cup standings. Only 46 points in front of her, and might actually, if she picks up another couple of spots, end the season as the top Belgian driver.
Yeah, because Elfie right now is way back, 5 spots behind her.
Yeah.
Tap out of 13. That's into 14. That's going to put her, look how low she's keeping the sled. That's a lot of steering to keep it that low.
At the moment, she's scoring 40 points more than Elfie. I think she needs another spot to overhaul her.
Track is clear for the body of
We've already seen one of our two Japanese sliders, Konomiya Sazu. Here is Maria Oshigiri, the more experienced of the two, with Anisa Kimishima, her new brakewoman this season. Kimishima, a big addition to this team.
Yeah,
and the first time in a couple of years the Japanese have had a sort of strong World Cup campaign.
I would say she was the biggest surprise at the World Championships, the Japanese best finish ever in Olympic or World Championship competition, and that goes back to the 30s.
7th position was an outstanding result and way outperformed even what has been a good season in the World Cup.
For brakeman, 11.7 sprinter. 11.2 is the mark in Japan. Females. Ooh, that's a little bit of a skid there out of the start grooves, and see how much that cost her. Exit here of 2. Ooh, she taps. She doesn't get through there clean. But Martin, this is, I said before, Hans Wimmer was hired as the coach last summer. First time the Japanese have ever taken on a foreign coach.
Wow, 1300s has gone away before corner 7.
And that relates to curve 2.
I'm going to have to start doing mental arithmetic now, and that's never
she's
pretty.
Not going to get this back. The speeds just aren't there. She might fall 4 places here, Martin. She's might fall 5 places, all relative to curve 2.
Wow. 6 places back now. That will move Elfa Wilhelmsen a little closer up the order. 8th place drop. Oh my goodness.
Oh wow, just all the good things we just said about the season she had. She's going to get.
Doesn't take away any of those.
Always smiling. She won't be. Look at her jump out of the sled.
She leaps out like it's on fire.
But always smiling. Let's see what she looks like here. They're still smiling. Great season.
Well, she's had 2 15th places as her worst results this season.
Well, the start, watch the sled come out of the grooves here. What a weird, quick adjustment. And curve 2 was also not good. Look at the sled here. Now look at it. Ooh, see the brakeman get in too late there. Maybe ran too far.
Yeah, free fall.
Real
she
steep
landed
start.
really heavy.
The mistake in curve 2, that's why she dropped 8 places.
And Van Nieuwenhauser of Belgium is our race leader. Stephanie Schneider and Lisa Marie Buchwitz only have 0.03 of a second first round advantage over them, so they need a really clean drive as well.
Well, the exit of 2 is going to determine their chances. Yeah, she skids. Wasn't perfect. 17 to 20 should have been out more than that with that better start time. They might be coming back. Here it comes back towards even. 124 speed is the number down here in the exit of 9. 124 flat, 11. So the next mark, 13. Let's see if she waves here at 13. 14, no. Ooh, late there. Second best speed, now uphill section, and I think she's going to do it, but it's going to be close. 700s. So she gave time all the way down the track, but Rennie Spies, top 10 for his athlete. Maybe. Now yes, top 10. Stephanie, tough season, broken collarbone up in Whistler. Sat out 3 or 4 events. Hurt the collarbone again with Winterberg when they brought her back. And she's been struggling with physical problems the whole season. I think she'll take a top 10 coming out of this pre-Olympic test.
I think you're probably right.
Well, look at these lines. German coach still filming there, the guy in the yellow. And there's a good reason. And then here, watch the head slap. That's late off 14. This is 15, and then the uphill section. She had to come in there late, tapped a little bit. The uphill section, that was some time.
Well, Anne van Nieuwenhauser's hopes of overhauling Elfa Wilhelmsen in the World Cup have gone, I think.
Here's the story of the day.
Yeah, wasn't it though? Andrea Greco got an early start draw, but she drove well off a 10th fastest start into 7th place in the first heat. Now, let's see what that does between the ears. The secret is not to think about where you are, just where you're going.
Never finished in the top 10. 11th in Lake Placid, 13th in St. Moritz, and this is her rookie season. Ooh, She drifts.
And she's only done half a season as a driver. She's done the other half as a brakewoman for Maria Constantin.
Little skid, a little bit of a tap, but hey, a top 10 finish for this rookie driver. I mean, the Japanese were a great story, but they've been through the whole season. We've only seen Greco half the season. A lot of times she's the brakeman on the Romanian one sled.
This is her 5th ever World Cup race. And she's really showed maturity, and that's a decent line.
600's back though. Speed's not that good.
Well, she's in an older FES sled up against a current FES sled of Stephanie Schneider, slipping a couple more spots.
Big hit out of 13.
Well, listen, she might drop 3 places, but she's still going to end up in the top 10.
7th best time, falls couple places.
So 3rd place.
Move up. Paul Niagu's got to be happy with that. This Greco has shown some promise here in the last couple weeks of the season.
3rd place with 6 to go means she will be no worse than 9th. And Romania's best result, 8th place in Altenburg for Maria Constantin.
And the pre-Olympic competition, this is a great result for this rookie driver.
Yeah, absolutely. What confidence.
This isn't bad considering all the challenges that this straightaway deals with. Now here's out of 13. Now watch how hard she hits here on the exit of 13. Bang! That doesn't seem like much, but you can see there's a little bit of an uphill section there on the exit of 13 to 14.
It felt like it though. Look, you see her rubbing her arm. And a whack from the cowling. 6 sleds to go, the World Cup title is up for grabs. Kaylee Humphries, points leader, winner in Whistler, winner in Altenburg, hasn't won since January the 6th. She needs to be in the top 3 to guarantee that she will win the Crystal Globe.
Changed sleds halfway through the season.
Last year's World Cup champion. That was her 3rd title in 4 years.
39 in the first run. I'm sure they're going to try and better that. They should be down in the mid-30s, 35, 36 at least. There's 39 again. And she had a real challenging drive down the track in the first run.
Ooh, skids off 2.
And down at curve 9 to 10, she did not look like the 2-time Olympic champion. But that's what this track can challenge anybody, from the best to the worst. And that's a great, it just says what a great facility they built here for the Olympic Games competition. And this is where her problems were in the first heat.
Ooh.
Not this heat. 125.7, best speed we've seen, but it's what we expect. Here out of 13, great. This could be 130 speed here in the bottom. Let's see if she can overtake the Koreans who were the first sleds down. 131.1. No team or sled has had speed like that in either heat so far. 51.96. She just went 31 hundredths better, and if she had that time in the first run, she'd be challenging for a top 3, and she would have guaranteed won the World Cup title.
She'd have been 200ths out of the medals with that time in the first heat. The question is it enough to put her up into the top 3?
She finishes in the top 3, she wins. Now, she didn't get out of curve 2 clean. Judge yourself. Does the sled come straight out of here? No, little skid.
Alana Myers-Taylor lies 3rd in the World Cup standings. She leads the race. Jamie Grubel-Poser 2nd in the standings. She lies in 2nd place. Kaylee needs to advance 3 spots to claim the Crystal Globe. And one of those might possibly come now, because Nadezhda Sergeva of Russia was just 300ths of a second in front of the double Olympic champion. The tall figure of her rookie brakewoman this season, Anastasia Kochetsova, joined us in Europe. Victoria Tokovaya of Russia, the coach there.
She's really improved at the start.
Yeah.
The whole season. But the crashing out at the World Championships in the first run, really, she was distraught over that, because she would have finished at least top 4, top 5 in that competition.
And she is a top 5 contender every time she sits in a sled. That's one of the consistencies that she's proved this year.
She needs to be clean here to have a chance. Humphries was unbelievable on the bottom, and that was a high part level of the curve, and she exited without touching anything. 6. That's relative, because she had a better start, better exit of 2.
She's going to need the hands of a surgeon here to keep it off the walls.
The eyes of a hawk. Now, exit of 9 coming up. She needs to be straight. This is where Humphries was excellent.
Oh, and that might be enough to do the damage.
124.6 kilometer.
Yep.
1/3 of a mile an hour down. Humphries was 131. There's another hit.
Skiddy.
He doesn't have, this speed's got to be 130, 129.4, 2 kilometers down.
800
it's right
of a
to the
second.
100th either way.
Very close. Does Humphries move up? She does by 100th of a second.
So that still keeps her hopes alive for the World Cup title.
Ooh.
By 100th. If she would have lost out to Sarajevo there, it would be easy to say she would not have won the World Cup title.
Yeah.
But Sarajevo was sloppy, especially in the bottom part of the track.
Now the balance starts to swing a little. 6th or lower for Kaylee Humphries means that Jamie Grubel-Poser would win the title by being 2nd. Now Jamie has to win the race to win the title.
Whoa. So that 100th of a second?
Yeah.
Because look at these lines. This is 100th of a second. How much do you think this was worth? Congratulations.
So Kaylee Humphries-Holtz still have the lead with 4 to go. Humphries on the brink of claiming her 4th World Cup title in 5 years. 4 sleds remain in the BMW IBSF Women's Bobsleigh World Cup season. Martin Haven and John Morgan watching as Alicia Rissling and Cynthia Appia get ready to go. Can they move into the medals? They were 1600ths off a podium finish, which would be Riss's 1st in her World Cup career.
Yeah, 37 in the first run at the start. Very impressive. She's been coming on all season. 33, best start of the heat so far. Can she get through 2? Nice. A little bit of a back end skid. Boy, but for her to beat her teammate, it's almost like she should hit the wall on purpose to give her teammate the World Cup title.
Nobody does that though. Rissling 4th and 5th in the opening 2 races of the
She's
season.
Airborne.
6th in the world. She's going to overhaul Brittany Reinbold for 7th in the overall standings. Oh, jumps in
125
clean.
speed is excellent, but there's no mistakes allowed. Humphries flew down here in the bottom part of the track. Her teammate's losing a little bit back.
She is out driving the double Olympic champion.
3rd best speed. I think this is going to be enough.
Wow.
This will be her best finish.
She's going to beat her teammate.
51.96. That, if you would have told me that Rissling would beat Humphries on this day, I might have bet a little bit of money against that. But it also give credit to Rissling. Look at Appia. Give credit to Rissling. 4th in Whistler. This might have something to do with Olympic selection too.
Wow. And what a race for them. Is that enough to put them into a World Cup medal position?
And she was up in the wood there. This is up 6-7 into 8. And look how much spray she had. Look and see it. That's the high. Not a good exit, but boy, she held on. And then this is down in the 9 to 10, 11, 12, the graveyard section. And you know, she skids a little bit, hits hard, but gets through with it.
Cynthia Appia closest to us, and there's Alicia Rissling, your leader, with 3 to come. Germany's Mariama Yamanka took a silver medal in Winterberg, her home track, a bronze in Koenigsegg in the World Cup, 4th in the World Championships at Koenigsegg as well. Can she claim another World Cup medal? She lies in 3rd after the first of 2 heats here in PyeongChang, Korea.
Might be the biggest heat of her career.
And she's got a great advantage at the start, John, with Annika Dracek, World Championship winning brakewoman behind her.
Get the 534, but watch the velocity here, the speed. 3rd best velocity. Surprise, can she get through there? Ooh, that wasn't pretty. And there's 1,300 separation with her and Rissling. And Dracek has got the history, or Jamaica's got a history of not being consistent.
1600s up after the first heat. It's down to
now.
700s.
You'll see.
Oh my word, Alicia Rissling.
Unbelievable celebration here in the box. But that's pretty good.
Oh, and that's pretty ugly.
No speed. The speed is way off the mark. I think that clock must be wrong.
Or filled with ice.
Ice.
400ths of a second back. Rissling looks like she's going to take a medal. She is going to take a medal. Alicia Rissling will lead with 2 to go.
Oh, wow. The personality of this track is spoken.
Rissling is going to wind out her rookie season with a World Cup medal.
Yesterday, we saw a Dutch athlete win a Women's World Cup skeleton medal for the first time ever in the history of that country. And today, Riesling comes out of nowhere to claim at least a bronze. We're not done yet. This track has got boogeymen all over it.
All right.
And no lead is safe.
Too much maths going on now. The gap first to third is 25 points. Jamie Grubel-Poser is 27 behind Kaylee Humphries. Jamie Grubel-Poser, if she holds her position with Kaylee in 5th place, I think Kaylee still takes the title. But oh boy, what could Alicia Riesling do now? Jamie Grubel-Poser and Asia Evans, Olympic bronze medalists in Sochi, 800ths out of the lead in the first heat. She needs to win to take the World Cup crown.
Well, I think this is a big heat in Jamie Grubel-Poser's career, but I think she's looking at winning the race, much less the World Cup title, and she's going to need an exit of curve 2. Just feathers herself through there.
Well, she had a number of clonks and bangs on the top part of the track in the first heat, and it's been quiet in the second. She avoided the hit out of 2. She avoided trouble out of 7.
This is the big sweeping 8 now. Watch the 9 come at us.
This is crucial.
Whoa, that's pretty good.
Oh, that was
big
very
speed
good.
too. Second best speed. Half-second lead.
Look at the lead she's building
good
over
exit
Alicia
of 13.
Riesling.
This could be good for speed. She could get 130 speed down here. 129.4. 7th best speed, and that's not going to help. She's going to lose some of that time back, but she is definitely a silver medal.
51.86 slide. That's slower than her first heat
700
by
slower.
700s, but is it enough? That felt like, it sounded like a better run. She hit less things, fewer contacts with the wall, and yet somehow slower.
But the track just puts you on the edge of your seat.
Yeah. Well, another medal for Grubel-Poser and Asia Evans.
You look at her feather herself in here. Use that again. But the back end hit there, that's a little bit costly, why she didn't have the speed on the bottom. And here, watch it drift to the right of us. I mean, how good do you have to be to come down this track? It's not fast, it's not dangerous, but boy, is it so meticulous.
Spectacular. Lolo Jones and her driver, Alana Myers-Taylor. Alana, on a streak of 5 straight wins, including the World Championships, crashed out of the first race of the year, or she'd be champion by now.
Watch Lolo Jones's feet here in the back. Look how low her feet are. That's that hurdling technique. And boy, do they have great velocity in the first heat through curve 1. 5:25
and a new start record.
Now, if she gets through this curve 2, it's her race. Ooh, she doesn't. Wow, 1200s isn't a lot. She should have had more clock than that with that start record.
800s from the first heat. Down to 2.
Watch out. I don't know, if you lose that much velocity up in curve 2, it's tough to bring it back.
Ooh, wavy in 9, hits the wall in 11.
600s back. This is, if she doesn't finish ahead of Jamie Grubel, Jamie's going to win the World Cup title and the race.
Yep. Alana Myers-Taylor.
Drama.
Is not going to make it. 130.1 is quicker than Jamie Grubel-Poser. 900s back at the last clock and at the line.
No.
It's victory for Grubel-Poser. She wins. Now, is my maths correct? Is she now the World Cup champion right now? She and Asia Evans don't care.
Curve 2. Alana did not get through curve 2. The rest of the ride, drive down the track, excellent. What a season she had. Other than crashing out in the first run of the year in Whistler, when she was on her way to that victory, the second run there, she would have just dominated and ran away with the World Cup title.
That's her 3rd silver medal. She's had 4 wins and 3 seconds in the 7 races she's completed.
And the U.S. team is loaded. They have 5 unbelievable brakemen. They have 2 quality drivers. First, second here at the pre-Olympic test, and Jamie Grubel-Poser walks away with the World Cup title.
If we had to pick a top 3, we'd have said 2 Americans and a Canadian. The Canadian would not have been Alicia Riesling.
Yeah, this is pretty standard. This is pretty much like the World Championships, except Alicia Riesling's in place of Kaylee Humphries.
Yep, exactly so. Good job by Alana Myers-Taylor and Lolo Jones.
Start record for the two of them.
Yeah, and Lolo claimed her first ever World Cup win last time out in Innsbruck in Austria, behind Alana Myers-Taylor. So
Curve
US
two.
1-2.
Curve 2, that's all you can talk about.
Yep. See the armour that they're wearing as well.
Well,
here is Jamie Grubel-Poser and Asia Evans.
You know, the start was excellent. The velocity was excellent. Jamie got through curve 2. That's the whole replay. She got through curve 2. Alana Myers did not. Neither did Kaylee Humphries.
And she shot the chicane pretty nicely as well. She tidied up all the little errors that denied her the lead after the first heat. And Jamie Grubel-Poser claims her second win of the season. Kaylee Humphries has won 2 as well. Alana Myers-Taylor has won 4, but that missing score from Whistler makes all the difference. There is your finishing order, and Alicia Rissling, a day of days. We thought the highlight of her season would be a top 6 finish in the World Championships. That's got to run it close, hasn't it? Bronze medal in the World Cup as well. What a last few weeks of the year she's had. It started well in North America. She held up. Her worst result of the year was 11th place. Alicia Rissling there on the podium with Jamie Grubel-Poser victorious and Alana Myers-Taylor taking the silver medal. Best of the rest, Mariama Yamanka in 4th, Kaylee Humphries 5th, and
there it is, confirmed,
Nadezhda Sergeyeva in
14
6th. Wow, Jamie Grubel-Poser for the first time in her life is the World Cup champion, taking it from last year's champion Kaylee Humphries and champion 2 seasons ago Alana Myers-Taylor. Christina Hengsten, Nadezhda Sergeyeva 4th and 5th. And didn't see the other moves. Anne van Nieuwenhauser doesn't get by Alfia Willemsen in the end, but she did overhaul Maria Constantin, who also leapt ahead of the absent Misha McNeil. And Andrea Grecu, good race weekend for her here, good race day for her, a 9th place finish.
You guys, we did it. Thanks for watching.
You're all very welcome. They did do it. Hello, PyeongChang. Goodbye, PyeongChang, at least for the next 11 months. That's it then from the BMW IBSF Women's Bobsleigh World Cup. On behalf of John Morgan and the whole IBSF TV crew, I'm Martin Haven saying thank you for being with us today and all season long. We look forward to commencing battle in November next year in the run-in to the Olympic Games in PyeongChang, Korea.